Hi, Loan Officer Academy participants. Thanks for being here. Today, we're going to go over our module of reading a rate sheet. And we're going to do a couple of examples, one FHA, one conventional. And again, Joe Gernebach, Mountain West Financial, one of your coaches in the academy. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so just some general information first, then we'll actually look at the rate sheet. Always remember to look at the right rate sheet. Is your loan a government loan? Is it a conventional loan? You need to be looking at the right rate sheet to get the right answers. Okay. And then the most important thing, and I'm going to summarize this at the end, but you need to look at your adjustments first. You need to do a line by line item adjustment for your scenario. Add up all your adjustments. That answer may end up being a cost, which is a positive number, or a credit rebate, which is a negative number, usually shown in parentheses or with a minus sign in front of it. Once you have your total adjustments, then you go to your pricing grid and price your loan according to what the question is asking you to answer, or according to what your client is looking for as far as the rate they're requesting or the amount of points they're willing to pay or not pay. Okay. Hopefully as we go along, that makes more sense. Okay, so our scenario today is going to be a $400,000 purchase price, or sale price. Okay, the first scenario we're going to do is FHA. So what do we do with an FHA loan? We take $400,000 times 96.5% to get our base loan amount. That answers $386,000, our base loan amount. Then we add the upfront financed mortgage insurance premium, which is 1.75%. And we've given you grids and charts and everything to answer with these things I'm saying or go along with these things I'm saying. So I'm not taking the time to show you the math on how to calculate a maximum FHA loan amount here, because we've done that elsewhere and will continue to throughout the course. Okay, so when you add the upfront mortgage insurance to the 386 base loan amount, you get a total loan amount of $392,755 on an FHA loan, maximum financed. Okay, so what we're going to do first, Angela, if you could slide up, we're going to go down to the adjustments grid before we look at that pricing grid. Okay, a little bit right there. Okay, government adjustments. Hopefully everybody can see that. And on this particular scenario, we have a 659 FICO, 659. So if you look over there on the left under government adjustments, you see FHA VA. Okay, and if you slide down to FICO, you're going to see that the 659 FICO, which is the third one down, has a 1 point adjustment, a 1.0 cost adjustment off to the right there. Okay, so on a piece of paper, mark that down, 1.0 adjustment for FICO. Okay, let's go line by line, see if there's any other adjustments. First one there says loan amount under 75,000, that does not apply. The second one there, loan amount between 75,001 and 125,000, that does not apply. The third one, loan amount 325 to the conforming limit, does apply, because our loan amount, remember the base 386, total 392,755. So we have another adjustment there of 0.125 rebate. Remember, if it's in parentheses, it's a rebate or a credit. Okay. So again, going line by line, VA doesn't apply, VA loan amount doesn't apply, VA purchase does not apply. The other FICOs don't apply because we already picked the one that does apply. Manufactured home does not apply. FHA high balance does not apply. So let's look at the other adjustments. State adjusters. If you're in one of those other states, then you would, look to use one of those adjustments as well. We're assuming all our scenarios are in California, so no adjustment there applies. The grid below that, FHA streamline, we're not doing a streamline. This is an FHA purchase. Off to the right, USDA, this is not a USDA. This is an FHA purchase, not a USDA loan. We're not extending the lock period, so no additional lock period costs. So now we have our two adjustments. We have a 1.0 cost. We have a 0.125 credit or rebate. So when you add those together, you're going to have 1 point and you're going to subtract the credit or rebate. So that's 0.125. So the answer is 0.875 cost. Okay, since the cost was the larger number, that's the one that's going to prevail in the answer. So 0.875 cost. And the questions throughout later when you're doing your pricing modules or quizzes or tests or what have you are going to ask you, price the loan as close to par as possible. And your answer could be a credit rebate or a cost. And when I say credit rebate, that's the same thing. Okay. And if it is a credit rebate, we ask you to express the answer in parentheses. If it's a cost, you don't use parentheses. Okay. But when we say price a loan as close to par as possible, we've gone over that, but let's go over it again. Close to par means it's close to 0 points, meaning no cost, no credit, no rebate. Okay, just as close to 0 points as possible. And more times than not, we're not going to have a rate that gets you to exactly 0 points or par. So that's why we say closest to. And again, in the scenarios you're going to see later, we're going to ask you to price it as closest to par. Your resulting answer could be a cost or it could be a rebate, but whatever the answer is, it needs to be the one closest to 0 points or par pricing. If it is a cost rebate, we do ask you to put it in parentheses so we know that you know that it's a credit or rebate versus a cost, which would not use parentheses. Okay, so now that we have our adjustments of 0.875, we're going to go back up top on this rate sheet, and we're going to go to that pricing grid at the top left. Okay, and we know we're on the right rate sheet. It says government standard products, and then the heading in that grid says FHA VA 30-year fixed. We're going to assume 30-year fixed on all of our loan scenarios. Okay, so right there, we're going to use that grid. So let's slide down. We're going to find the one that offsets closest to the 0.875 cost that offsets that to get us closest to 0 points. Okay, and the answer should be 2.25%. I don't know, Angela, can you highlight that in a light color so we can see through it? That blue seems to be a little dark. I don't know if you have yellow or something else that we can actually see through it. I don't know if that'll help or not. Yeah, that does help. Thank you. Let's use the yellow. Okay, so 2.25% interest rate, and it shows there a 0.761 rebate. Okay, but if we add to that our adjustments, and our adjustments were 0.875 cost, so we have a 0.761 rebate or credit plus the 0.875 cost, so a negative number plus the positive number. The higher number, the number with the larger amount is going to prevail, which in this case will be the cost. So we're going to end up with a 0.114 cost. Okay, so the answer would be closest to par rate would be 2.25%. After we put our adjustments and look at the pricing grid as we are now, add them together, we get 0.114 cost. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. We're going to do a conventional example using the same scenario. Okay, so that's the government one, and we're going to now go look at the conventional price sheet, which should be right below here. Perfect. Okay, and you can see the pricing grid in the upper left. Okay, this is the jumbo one. Let's not use this one. Let's see if we have the conventional one. We're not going to do any jumbo examples today. Okay, there's conventional. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do here, remember that pricing grid is the upper left corner. Okay, but we're not going there right now. We're going to look at our adjustments first. Always, always, always adjustments first. So we're going to slide down right there. Stop there. Okay, conventional adjustments. Okay, now using the same scenario, 400,000 sale price, 96.5. I'm sorry, not 96.5%. That's the FHA. But on this one, we're going to do a 20% down. which should tell you what? 20% down should tell you no mortgage insurance, no PMI, private mortgage insurance, because they're putting 20% down. If it was less than that, you need mortgage insurance. Okay, so with 20% down on a $400,000 purchase price, our loan amount would be $320,000. Okay, but remember, we have a 659 FICO we're using from the same example we used in FHA. Okay, so now we're going to go to that conventional adjustment. And Angela, can you highlight that in yellow? Thank you very much. Okay, print's a little bit small there, but hopefully you guys can read it. It's showing that for a loan to value, well, actually that first grid kind of loan to value is across, and then FICO scores up and down. But the 659 FICO is highlighted there. Then you come across to 80%, and that's going to give you a bump of 3 points. Pretty big bump, okay? Pretty big price adjustment, a lot bigger than the FHA loan, okay? But that's our pricing adjustment for the FICO LT and loan to value. So the credit score and the loan to value gets us on that grid to 3.0. So write that down on a piece of paper. That's one of your adjustments. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the right, and it shows other adjustments. We're assuming that there's impounds on all of our loans for taxes and insurance, so that wouldn't apply. This is not a 1 to 4 unit non-owner occupied. That would not apply. It's not a 2, 3, or 4 unit non-owner occupied. So none of those are going to apply. It's not 2 units. It's not any of those with the units. But if we keep sliding down, I probably should have said on the earlier example, and I didn't. It's a condo. This property is a condo. So it's not a single family residence. It's a condo. And we're going to assume for any condo example scenarios that you see throughout the course that it is an attached condo, okay? So there is a bump there for an attached condo, but read the rest of it. Attached condo that is above 75% loan to value and above 15-year term, okay? And that does apply here because remember, we're using 30-year term and we're doing an 80% loan. So we have another adjustment there of 0.75. Okay, so two pretty good adjustments, the 3 plus the 0.75. Let's continue in that grid. It's not a manufactured home. It's not, they don't have 7 to 10 finance properties, and it's not a second home. Okay, so we should have all of our adjustments. If we add them together, the 3.0 and the 0.75, that gives us 3.75 total adjustments. Let's now go back up to the pricing grid itself. Okay, right there in the upper left side, 30-year conventional, and it's we're all using all 30-day rate locks, 30-year fixed loans. Okay, so what we need to do is find a rate that shows a rebate close to that 3.75 cost for the adjustments, so that when they offset each other, we're getting the loan as close to par pricing, as close to 0 point pricing as possible. Okay, so in this scenario, I believe the 3.25% interest rate, 3.25% on the far left right there, interest rate. Yeah, the right there. Okay, and that shows a 3.928 rebate or credit because it's in parentheses. Okay, so that parentheses credit rebate is going to offset our cost. So when we add those two together, the higher number prevails. And I know this is in parentheses, but the 3.928 is a higher number than 3.75. So our prevailing answer or result is going to be a cost or credit in parentheses. So when we add the 3.75 cost, remember for our FICO loan to value and our attached condo adjustments, we're going to end up with a 0.178 credit or rebate. So again, you have your 3.75 cost added to your 3.928 rebate. Your result is 0.178 in parentheses rebate or credit. Okay, hope that makes sense. You're welcome to re-listen to this module as many times as you'd like, or refer back to it, you know, as you go further through the course to better understand how to read a rate sheet. Okay, so that's two examples, the FHA and a conventional. Okay, so now let's look at our takeaways. Angela, do you have that screenshot of our takeaways? And always remember, here it comes. Perfect. Okay, our key takeaway points here. Number one, identify what type of loan am I doing? Is it when I say government, that means FHA or VA. When I say, and then, or is it conventional, or is it jumbo? I didn't show you the jumbo rate sheet. We don't have any jumbo scenarios throughout the course, but just know jumbo is over and above conventional and high conforming loan limits. Okay, that's number one. Number two, always use the applicable rate sheet. Once you've identified, is it FHA, is it conventional, make sure you're using the right rate sheet. Identify your loan scenario. Again, tying in with the two things we just said above. Always begin pricing with the adjustment boxes. Okay, if you start with the pricing grid, you're going to get the answer wrong. If you start with the pricing adjustments and go line by line, does this apply? Yes, add it. Does this apply? Yes, add it. When I say add it, it could be a negative number or a positive. Just put the negative numbers in parentheses so you know that that's a credit or rebate. Add up all your adjustments, then go look at that applicable rate box up in the upper left corner, and then price according to the client or the scenario request. In this instance, throughout Loan Officer Academy, you're going to be answering what the question's asking you, whether it's a module, a quiz, a test, but in the real world, we're going to be pricing it according to what our client is looking for, because they may be, I want to buy the rate down with paying a couple of points. Okay, then go to the rate that has a couple of points, including your adjustments, and get them that rate, or show them 2 or 3 rates. Okay, or you may have somebody that's really short cash. They don't have the money to buy the rate down any further, and they could actually use help with some of their closing costs getting paid with a credit or rebate. So maybe you show them a little bit higher rate, but now all of a sudden, the credit or rebate's picking up, 1 or 2,000 or more of their closing costs. So knowing how to do that can make the difference between making a transaction work versus not making it work. So hopefully you find that helpful. Remember, in real world, Mountain West Financial loan officers have access to a tool called Price My Loan. It's an auto pricer. We can literally put in, certain information, and the computer will price it for us and show us what loan types the customer may be eligible for. So a lot of that stuff is automatically done in the real loan officer world. We're not quite there yet. We're still in Loan Officer Academy world. So, and even if you had access to the automatic stuff, it's good to know how to do this manually, so you kind of know what's happening behind the scenes, that some of this stuff has adjustments and why it does. You have a lower credit score, that's a higher risk loan. You have a higher credit score, that's a lower risk loan. You're putting more money down, that's a lower risk loan. All these things factor in to the pricing of a loan, and hopefully you'll either have already listened to by now or will be listening to soon the interview that I did with our pricing department, Renee, and hopefully this kind of supplements or enhances that interview and the information you picked up from that. Okay, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon. Look forward to the next check-in. Thank you.